Good morning, fellow option traders. This is Jeff, and welcome to the Daily Scan for Wednesday, September 24th, 2014. Alright, the only announcement from yesterday that had a star on is this PMI Manufacturing Index flash, and it came in line within the expected range. Even though it was a smaller number than they expected, it wasn't all that much smaller. I think like 0.2 or something like that, so it wasn't a big deal. Today, however, we have new home sales, and that market has not been looking very well, as mentioned previously, several times. And the EIA Petroleum Status Report. Alright, looking across the ponds. Over in Asia, mixed. There's really not much to say there. The bearish wasn't all that bearish. And in Europe, we are also mixed, looking actually sort of flat and kind of wiggling around, I guess you might say. Okay, Alibaba investors may have reason to worry. I like their symbol, Baba. Let's see here. Is that Bogle or Boogle? No, that's Bogle, I guess. iPhone 6 prone to bending. Then there was something about, I saw something about Samsung coming out with their phablet, they call it, which is a phone that's so big it's almost a tablet. So pretty soon people are just going to be putting TVs up against their ears and talking. I guess the bigger, how big can you make a phone? I'm glad I got my iPhone 5. What do I have? S? Yeah. It's a good size, even for somebody that's can't read without really heavy reading glasses. But I digress, don't I? Alright, let's take a look at the futures over here. It's looking like as though it's going to open up slightly, just a tad. And gold is up, and oil is actually down. I mean, it's down from yesterday, 91.67 this morning. I get a big kick out of gold. I saw a headline someplace that said gold is up 3 days in a row. Let's take a look here. Well, it's kind of a stretch. I wouldn't call this up. Maybe 2 days in a row. Maybe I remember the headline incorrectly. So gold is up 2 days in a row, and they're making a big deal out of that. Well, look at where it's at. I just actually almost dipped below 1200 here. It was threatening to go below 1200, and they're like headlining that gold is up 3 days. All right, yesterday, did a couple of trades, added to the Amazon position at the same strike, only with a week later expiration. And we'll be looking at that as we go through the list. And then Boeing opened up a bear call on Boeing yesterday, and that out of we had Apple, Amazon, Boeing, BIDU, NDX, Netflix, and SPX all on our watch list. And those are the ones that I entered, and it was later in the afternoon, like about 2:20 or so. But let's start out right now with the A+ list and see if we can get the Thinkorswim platform to crash for us. Alrighty, so first off is Apple. We were looking for a hook in here, and we actually have one. When did this happen? Probably right away. This hook. Decided not to do anything on it yesterday, so now that it has hooked, and this is questionable, this is Neither one of these actually. This did not hit 80 and this one did not hit 20. So it didn't really give us exactly what we're looking for, but it might be good enough. So I am adding an alert to this today, and it has to get above the high from yesterday. So alert goes to Apple. And that would be a 50 delta trade, and on that, for a 50 delta, we would be looking for this week expiration and a delta of 50, which is basically at the money. So we're at 102.64, and we'd be looking for a bull put. So 102, well, maybe if it moves actually up to this yesterday's high, or goes above the high, which would be at 103 or higher. So at 103, we would be looking at selling a vertical, and that would be a 44-cent credit. We would like to get a 50-cent credit, and with a delta of 63, we should be looking at a 50-cent credit, but what could be the problem here? Well, volatility probably contributes to that. It's pretty low. And if we look at the chart, we are in the 30% percentile for IV. Not really all that low for Apple historically. And if we were down here around 10%, then I would say that that would be pretty low. But we'll still look for a trade on this today. All right, Amazon, I mentioned that. I added to this. Did I not add to this? Yes, I did. And I put my drawing up here, and now it's not here. Anyway, it's at the same strike, only with an expiration out here of October, first one in October. October 1 would be the first expiration in October, which I think is the 3rd. Is that the 3rd? Yeah, 10-3. So, I don't know where my drawing, what happened to my drawing. Is Boeing there? No, Boeing's not there. I did throw an alert on here for Boeing. Now, Boeing is up here, I think, at 130. Let me take a look here. Yes. So, I have a Boeing, a 20 delta up here at 130, again with the same expiration out here of the first weekend in October. I think from the crash, I did have a crash, just like I said. Okay, BIDU, we have a setup now on BIDU. So no more 20 delta on BIDU. Now we're looking for a 50 delta on BIDU because it did qualify. We actually, nice little swing up here and then a nice little swing down from way above 80 to well below 20. We like that for our 50 deltas, although a little shaky here on the 20 EMA, but everything else is looking at least temporarily uptrend. So I'll put that on our setup list, and that would be BIDU. Alright, so noted. Chipotle. Okay, so what are we going to do about Chipotle here? Many times I see it come down to the 50 here and play around with it, only to continue. What to do? We have a nice confirmation on the weekly too. I'm putting it in the setup for today, and I want to take a look at it. So I'll make sure it's noted in there. We're looking at for a setup for a 50 delta on Chipotle for today. So we need a hookup on stochastic and a hookup on MACD, and a little hookup here on MACD would be nice as well on the weekly. Costco. Right, let me go back to Chipotle. I'm going to put a target in there. I don't think there's a target in there. Yeah. We're going to throw a target in there. We are in our target area, and we'll be looking for that hook. All right, Costco. Nothing going there. Not interested in anything at this time. Let's look at the Dow. So now we might be having on the weekly a head and shoulders pattern forming. Since our double top didn't work out, this big boost last week, we may be looking at a head and shoulders. This would be the left shoulder, this would be the head if it continues, and we'd be looking for a left shoulder about equal to this level here at 170, 171, somewhere around there. It has to pull back, then come back up to it, and then fail to break back out again. Then that would be, but this is only 30 stocks, so I don't put much credit to it. We already looked at gold. At least we looked at the futures on gold. So let's jump right over to Google. Google, we have a Google, we have a setup as well, and it has an ideal pattern here, well above 80, and now we're come back down. Maybe another red day today. Maybe not. It can hook here. This is fine. I don't know what this value is, though. I wish I could get rid of all this junk here. I don't need to know what my parameters are. At least I certainly don't need them displayed. Anyway, I would imagine this is probably, it might be, you know, I can, if I spread this out a little bit. Okay, it is 20.265. So can you get any closer without actually being there? Yeah, you can. But it's close enough for us, for me to put it down as a setup. LinkedIn. Okay, LinkedIn, nothing going there. Alright, we'll just leave that alone. NDX, we have a potential 20 delta on NDX. And I would be thinking that our three cash indexes are setting up very, very nicely for a 20 delta. Alright, Netflix, 20 delta on it. Reason why I'm saying it's a 20 delta is we're not quite getting the range on here that I would like to see. You know, now that I look at this a little bit more closely, I'm crossing Netflix off. I'm taking them off. Taking this off too. I just think we're going to be in a trend reversal here. So I think our next opportunity would actually be up here. We're going to make that yellow for a 20 delta because it's a new trend and we need it to prove itself. Of course, it might just pop right back up there and I might decide to do a 50 delta at that time. We'll just have to wait to see what kind of movement we get out of this little puppy. Okay, price line, we do have a 50 delta out there on it, and it's not cooperating, but I'm letting it ride. I'm willing to take full loss on this. It's still in the money. You have to be careful about it. Today's Wednesday, and I have 2 more days left on it to decide what I'm going to do. All right, Russell. Yes, Russell is definitely in a downtrend. So I would say that it's not setting up nicely at this time. We need to wait a little while on that one for it to give us an entry on SPX. Actually, we're counting this as a bullish trade. So if we get a hook back up here, we would be interested in a 20 delta on SPX. So noted. Tesla. Oh, Tesla. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm pretty sure we're going to be leaving Visa alone too. Yes, we are leaving Visa alone. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say our next opportunity, I'm sure, is going to be here. And that would be for, at least for now, for a 20 delta. But when it gets up there, if it's looking pretty, you know, if we actually have a trend here, then we might say, yeah, we might do a 50 delta. But for right now, we're just looking at a 20 delta on that. Okay, that pretty much wraps it up for today. We have, in summary, an alert on Apple, a setup for 50 delta on BIDU, Chipotle, and Google, and possible 20 deltas on NFLX, Netflix, and SPX, and that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day and happy trading.